Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we have another ESPN NBA mock draft reaction. They're starting to pick up a little bit as we get closer and closer to the draft. I think at this point it's less than a month away. We're about to enter June, and the draft is on, I think, June 26th. Very excited. Last 2 years I attended the drafts, just to watch. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do it this year, just because, or if I'm going to be able to do it this year just in general, obviously not as exciting as a draft, but overall, I mean, it's kind of the same experience if you watch it on TV or, something like that. Draft is still a cool experience, though. You get to see a lot of players. Last year, seeing Wemby in person was insane. But yeah, we have another NBA mock draft from ESPN. It's Jonathan Givony and Jeremy Wu. I'm not sure if they switch off of picks, like maybe Givony gets the first, Wu gets the second, and they keep alternating, or if they just come to a consensus on a draft pick. But either way, it's going to be a post um, decision mock draft because the deadline for deciding whether or not you're going to return to college or enter the 2024 NBA draft was, I believe, Wednesday, 2 days ago for me, but I think it's going to be probably about a week ago for you guys because I'm not going to be posting this right away. And yeah, there's a couple of interesting names. I think this is a two-round mock draft. Some guys that could have went in the first round that decided to opt out. Alex Caravan was someone who could possibly end up as a late first rounder. Maybe the Celtics or the Nuggets were looking at him. Jackson Robinson's returning. I think he's going to play for Kentucky. His old coach, Mark Pope. Um, Mark Sears, I think he would have been a second rounder if he stayed. Then you have some guys who opted into the draft, like a Johnny Furphy, who's going to be a first round pick. Ronnie James, who is looking like he's going to get drafted. So there are definitely a couple of interesting ones. I think the biggest impact, probably Mark Sears or Alex Caravan. I think Alabama has a great chance to be the number one team in the country next year, and obviously we know UConn keeps reloading. So very interesting stuff that happened. I think we'll just get right into it though. With the first overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft, Gavoni and Wu have the Atlanta Hawks selecting. It's going to be Zachary Sachet. Now, just I think in my last mock draft, I made a comment saying Sachet was probably going to be out of the conversation for the first overall pick for me. But then I think like 2 days later, or maybe even one day later, uh, Sachet dropped, I think, what was it, 28 points in a league playoff game, which is insane considering he's a 19-year-old basketball player. Obviously, he's a basketball player, but him dropping that at 19 years old in a grown man league is very impressive. I think he's back in that conversation for sure when we get into the pre-draft workouts, when we get obviously I think what was it 2 years ago when the Paolo Banchero Jabari Smith odds shifted when before the draft or like a couple hours before the draft it was looking like Jabari Smith was a lock at the first overall, but then I think what was it an hour 30 minutes before the draft it switched. Could be something similar we see this year with Riz Shea and Alex Sarr, but I think this is really going to depend on the pre-draft workouts. Who could possibly rise up during that? I think Chris Sachet is definitely back in that conversation, though. I don't hate the fit to the Hawks. I think it might be a little redundant with some of the players they already have. Jalen Johnson, who's a wing about the same size, a little bit bigger, though, in terms of body strength. AJ Griffin, great rookie season, not so great second year. Sadiq Bey, we'll see whether or not they decide to bring him back. Bogi Bogdanovic, similar wing type player. So I'm just not sure if he's going to find immediate minutes right away, just because of how many good or solid wings that they have on that roster. DeAndre Hunter as well, just another guy that came to mind. If I had to guess, I think this pick would still be Alex Sarr. I'm going to continue mocking that until I really see a big difference. But I'm not mad at this. I think you could argue Zachary Vissache is the better overall prospect than Alex Sarr. Pick two, we have the Wizards. I'm going to assume that this is going to be Alex Sarr. It'd be pretty crazy if he dropped all the way to three. And it is going to be Alex Sarr. I think this is a very good pick. I mean, if the number one overall prospect falls to you at two, you're doing something right. And that's what the Wizards are doing in this mock draft. I like the fit as well. I think Sarr with the Wizards probably gives him not thrown into a better situation, but probably a little bit better situation minutes wise. You would assume that they're going to prioritize the development of Alex Sarr over Marvin Bagley or who else do they have in that? Who else they have in that big man depth? Just want to search it up real quick. They had Tristan Vukcevic. That was the guy I was looking for. Um, and then other than that, they traded Daniel Gafford at the trade deadline. So honestly, the big position is definitely something they need right now. Bagley, Tristan Vucevic, Rashawn Holmes. Obviously, you're not going to prioritize him. Then Eugene Omarui, or I don't know how to say his name. I'm pretty sure he's like 6'6", 6'7", so not a real center. Otherwise, or anyway, Alex Starr's the right pick. If he falls you at two, It's going to get an A plus from me. It's a great draft pick. At pick three, we have the Rockets take Reed Shepard. I think I'm still fine with this. Maybe there's a little bit too much hype following the draft combine with him obviously having that 42-inch vertical, being elite from the 3-point line, showing his athleticism and all sorts of facets. Um, I think that maybe we were slightly overhyping him. Maybe three is too high, but honestly, it can still happen. That's what I had mocked in my post lottery mock draft. So if it happens here, I wouldn't be too surprised. Honestly, I don't even know who I love at three. When I make my next mock draft before my official last mock draft, because I'm going to do one more before my final one that I'll post either the day of the draft or the day before the draft. I think I'm going to have the Rockets trade this pick. I'm going to be doing a mock draft with trades. Could possibly be back to the Nets, maybe the Cavaliers if Donovan Mitchell's available. But there's definitely a lot of ways that the Rockets could go with this third overall pick. One way is definitely Reed Shepard, though. I think he's a great connecting piece, a glue guy, right, to stick at that shooting guard position. I know you have Jalen Green, but if we're not going to see the same Jalen Green we saw the last, 3 months, 2 months of the season, then is it really worth keeping him, paying him that rookie max extension? I'm not sure. So maybe they want to go younger. Maybe they want to go in a different direction. And I think Reed Shepard, whether you keep Jalen Green or whether you move on from him, he could be a great connecting piece at that backup shooting guard position. So I like that. At pick four, we have the Spurs taking Stephon Castle. I think there's a great chance I lean this way in my next mock draft as well. There's been a lot of talk about how the Spurs are connected to Stephon Castle, even after he decided that he wanted to make it clear, or his camp wanted to make it clear, that he purely wants to play that point guard position at the next level. At UConn, obviously, he played more of the wing, the small forward, even a high post guy at times. Obviously, with Tristan Newton and Cam Spencer being in that lineup. But in high school, he was a pure point guard. He was a combo. He was 6 foot. I mean, he is 6'6". He's a combo guard. He's a great passer still. Obviously, we know his aggressive tendencies. I think Stephon Castle. I think he'll end up with the Spurs, but I'm not so sure if it's going to be with this fourth overall pick. I'm going to continue thinking about it when I come up to my mock draft. But I like the fit here. It gives Pop a defense first guy in Stephon Castle. And if he really proves to be that true point guard who's able to pass the ball, maybe add some shooting to his repertoire as well, this could be a really good pick down the line. And I've said it with Stephon Castle. I've said it with Ron Holland. I think down the line, when we look back at this draft, we could see these guys as the best players in this draft class, and maybe we're just underrating them because of their shooting deficiencies. At pick five, we have the Pistons taking Matas Buzelis, another player who I kind of throw into that Stephon Castle Ron Holland conversation of them being potentially the best players in this draft class. Buzelis also struggled shooting the three ball at Ignite, but before that, in high school, he was really good. So I'm not going to put too much stock into his season last year at Ignite. I think a Pistons at five is also a really good fit for him. Um, you have your future 1 through 3, obviously being a Cade, Ivy, Thompson. At least you hope. We'll see what happens to Jaden Ivy. And then maybe just slide Mattis Buzelis right there at that four position, having Jalen Duren at your five man. Sounds like a fun starting lineup going forward. Obviously, the one thing you can worry about there is the shooting. Duren can't shoot. Buzelis struggled a lot last season. Sword Thompson can't shoot. Jaden Ivy, it's not looking amazing. And then obviously, Kate Cunningham's your only hope there. If all those guys can work out their jump shot, then I think this team has a really good lineup going forward. If not, though, maybe there's some concern. But I like Buzelis' fit to the Pistons at five. At pick six, we have the Hornets taking Rob Dillingham. Something I haven't seen too much. Honestly, I hate this as maybe a backup guard who can come in. You know, LaMelo's getting hurt a lot, or he has a high tendency of getting injured. So maybe we'll see a lot more minutes of Rob Dillingham in his rookie year than we thought. But looking back just a year ago, or even during last season before the trade deadline, we had Terry Rozier, and those were two very explosive guards in LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier, who really just got buckets at will. Could we see something similar with Dillingham to the Hornets? Maybe, but they had to move Rozier because the backcourt was not working out defensively, also not winning them games. I think here at six, I mean, I don't even know what I'd rather because my two favorite fits to them at pick six would be Reed Shepard and Stephon Castle. Maybe a Ron Hollins I'd like, but Dillingham as a backup guard for the future doesn't sound so bad to me. At pick seven, we have the Blazers taking Donovan Clayton. I like this a lot. I think it's my favorite. It's my favorite team player fit I've seen so far in this mock draft. ESPN, I'm pretty sure has Donovan Clayton. Yeah, it's right there. Has him as their third best player in this draft class. I still don't see that. I think he's around 8 or 7 in my personal big board. But I like the fit to Portland's. It gives them a real center to build off of. or continue building off of because they already have Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp, but it really gives them some more foundation. I know they have DeAndre Ayton right now, but we don't know his future with that team. I like clinging at 7. I have this marked as well. There's nothing to hate on it for me. At pick 8, we have the Spurs again. Nikola Topic has not been picked yet, so I'm going to assume no, they actually go to John Salon at picks 8. Um, I think I also like this. I think he's going up the draft boards a lot. He's also ended the season pretty well for his team in France. Um, but players who get boosted up this much before the NBA draft, I mean, we've seen it the last couple of years. We've seen it in Keegan Murray. We've seen it in Patrick Williams. Who else we've seen it? We've seen it in Scotty Barnes. They all end up being solid players. Keegan Murray, Patrick. I guess Patrick Williams not so much, but we've seen them work out. I think Salon's definitely another guy where we might get some rumblings of a top 5 guy before the draft. I'm not sure how much I see that. I think he's definitely a late lottery guy. If the worst, I think he'll be in the 15 to 17 range. But top five's a little big. I don't think I'll have him this high at pick 8, but honestly, I don't hate it. Gives them a running man next to Jeremy Shohan and Victor Wembanyama to go for the future. I probably would rather Nikola Topic here just to have the point guard duo or point guard and wing duo, Topic and Castle. But I don't hate this Salon pick. Just maybe a tad bit too high for my personal liking. Pick 9, we have the Memphis Grizzlies taking don't connect. Yeah, guess I'm a win now type guy. I think if I'm making my personal mock drafts, which I'm my next mock draft, I probably would have the Grizzlies trading out of this spot, or if Donovan Clayton's available, take him right away because that's who you'd like at pick 9. But Connect's not bad. If assuming there's no trades in this mock draft, it makes sense. I mean, it makes perfect sense. With Klingon not being on the board anymore, and Connect being the most win now guy left in the draft board, besides I guess Zach Edey, but really there's no chance Edey goes this high. I like this fit for sure for the Memphis Grizzlies. Gives them a nice shooter to come off the bench. Something better than what you thought Jake LaRavia would be, similar to what you thought Luke Kennard would be, and maybe even much more because I think Don't Connect still has potential despite being a 23-year-old rookie. Pick 10, we have the Jazz. It's going to be Nikola Topic. I think with him falling right here, I think it's a perfect fit. They want to get their future point guard, pair him right next to Keontae George. I like this a lot. Um, Obviously, falling a little bit because of those injuries. He had the knee sprain, and earlier in the season, he had I think it was another injury to his lower leg or something. Think though, if he's going to be available at pick 10, the Jazz are good to take that risk because um, they're looking to get their next point guard. I'm cool with this. My next mock draft, I don't know how much I'll have him fall. If it's going to be the pick 10, we'll see. But honestly, I'm fine with this. At pick 11, we have Ron Holland to the Bulls. I'm glad we're not seeing a guard mock to them because I've seen that a lot. Whether it's Isaiah Collier, whether it's Rob Dillingham, even though he doesn't really fall this far. Usually they mock guards to this team, even Devin Carter or Jared McCain. But I think with Lonzo Ball returning, it's looking like he will return. Javon Carter still having a year left on contract. Alex Caruso, obviously. Zach LaVine, we'll see what happens with him. Kobe White, I would assume. They have a lot of guards that deserve minutes on that team. If I had to guess, the Bulls, I mean, another team that I could kind of see trade out of this position if a guy like Don't Connect or Donovan Kling is not available because they want to win right now. Maybe they could try to find a solid role player for the 11th overall pick. But if Ron Holland's available, I think you should take the shot at him because he's a guy who could realistically go top 5 in this draft, and you get a steal at him with pick 11. So I like this pick a lot for the Chicago Bulls. At pick 12, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking Devin Carter. Sure. I don't really have any problems with this. I think Devin Carter is another name who's kind of worked himself into that lottery talk. If I were to be surprised, I mean, I'm not sure if I love obviously the guard fit to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Maybe I'd like to see them get more of a big. But with Klingon off the board, like we said before, and maybe a little bit too early for a guy like Nisir Kalel Ware, maybe we could take a little scrappy guard here in Devin Carter, who's able to get underneath, as a defender, he's able to get underneath the opposing offensive player, being able to lock down your opponent's best guard. And if Devin Carter and Casey Wallace are on the court at the same time, offensive offenses better be scared because that'd be frightening. At pick 13, we have the Kings. It's going to be Jacoby Walter. I think it's a great replacement for Malik Monk. Monk's most likely going to leave in free agency. We'll see where he goes. And you're getting a similar player in Jacoby Walter, a solid volume 3-point shooter. And I'm fine with that at pick 13. Him or Jared McCain, I think, are two great fits for this Kings team. going forward. At pick 14, we have the Blazers taking Cody Williams. I think this is a steal. I think Cody Williams can end up going as high as 6 in real life. So him dropping to 14, you snagging him, and you having a first round draft of who they have at 7 again. I think it was Donovan Clingan. If you having a first round draft of Donovan Clingan and Cody Williams would probably honestly give me an A grade right away because that would be insane if Cody Williams fell all the way to 14. But if it happens, the Blazers are going to be set up very well for the future. And so, yeah, I like Cody Williams to the Blazers at 14. It's another place where he's not going to be forced into the scene right away. He'll play backup guard slash forward, backup wing behind Shannon Sharp, behind Anthony Simons. They have a lot of solid guys on that team. Tumani Kamara. I like the way this team's looking at going forward. At pick 15, we have the Heat taking Zach Edey. I've seen this before on ESPN mock drafts. Can Zach Edey go this high? Sure. I don't mind him going this high. But to the Miami Heat specifically, I honestly don't like it. I've seen him go to the Heat at 15. I've seen him go to the Raptors at 19. He can go that high. He can go right outside the lottery. I'm fine with that. But the way these teams play, like the Miami Heat, I just don't see Eric Spoelstra taking a guy like him. The Heat, I wouldn't necessarily say they play fast, but they do not clog up the paint at all. Thinking about their last couple of big men they've ran through, pause, but Kevin Love, he's not going to clog up the paint. He's able to step out. Bam Adebayo is a very fluid, offensively gifted player. He's not clogging up that paint. Even a couple years ago, Precious Achiuwa had some stretch five to him. Overall, I don't think they really play with a big guy on that block, and that's what Zach Edey's going to be doing at the next level. So that's why I'm kind of worried about that. But he can go this high, sure, but not to the Heat specifically. I don't love this pick. At pick 16, we have McCain going to the Sixers. Love this fit a lot. I think the Sixers getting another guy who's able to step in, hit his 3-point shots. They were not able to play Malik Monk down the stretch, or not Malik Monk, excuse me. They were not able to play Buddy Hield down the stretch of last season. Not exactly sure why. I think he did get a DNP. Not sure if it was injury or just coaches. But Jared McCain coming in, I think it's a steal at 16. It's a guard who's able to handle the rock and step out beyond the 3-point line and hit it consistently. Also, a guy I could see play without the ball in his hands. I think Jared McCain's going to make some team very happy in the late lottery to early non-lottery. At pick 17, we have the Lakers taking Tristan Silva. Last time, I think I kind of hated on this pick because they had guys like Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt. But I think with the talks of them possibly moving one of them, gives you the opportunity to pick a guy like Tristan Silva, who's able to um, step in at that power forward position, bring you the same thing that Hachimura and Vanderbilt were able to give you. And at 17, I also think it's great value. At pick 18, we have the Magic taking Johnny Furphy. I think this is what they had last time as well. I'm not sure if I mean, it's okay. They need shooting, obviously, so they're going to go with one of the best shooters in this class, or at least pure form shooters, in Johnny Furphy. So, guess I'm fine with it in that sense, but probably a little bit too high for his value. Last year, they surprised some people in taking Jet Howard at pick 11, which we also thought was pretty high. So maybe Furphy at 18 is not too crazy. Don't hate the player, but maybe slightly too high. At pick 19, we have the Raptors taking Keyshawn George. I mean, they have one first round pick in this draft. They no longer have the pick because it's going to the Spurs. I'm not sure if I want them taking a wing with this pick at 19. If Ware and Lisi are still available, and in this mock draft they're both available, I probably would rather see one of those guys go to the Raptors at 19. More specifically, Yves Missi goes to the Raptors at 19 than a wing because I think with Jakob Poeltl uncertain in your future plans, I know you paid him a couple or about a year ago, but I think still could look to upgrade from him. Not upgrade, but move on from him because you're starting not to match up these eras on your team or this timeline on your team because we got guys like Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, who are all younger in their 20s, and then Jakob Poeltl, who I believe is reaching up to 30 years old. So he's probably somewhere around there, right? Um, Maybe I think 28 is the youngest I could see him. He has at 28. I think there's just much more to be desired for Jakob Poeltl. That's why I'd rather Yves Missi or Kel'el Weir at pick 19. Don't hate Keyshawn George though. I think should for sure be a first round pick. At pick 20, we have the Cavs taking Bob Carrington. Yep, I'm fine with this as well. I think I had this mocked actually. Did I have this mocked? I'm not sure if I had this mocked, but I know I definitely had Carrington around this range. I think I might have had him at 17 to the Lakers actually, which is pretty high. But yeah, with the uncertain of the future with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, it's going to be very important to get another guard in there. I know you have Javon Porter; he's been solid, but when we look at potential wise, an 18-year-old guard who showed flashes at Pittsburgh of being an elite scorer, who's 6'5", there's a lot to love on Bob Carrington. So I'm very cool him going this high at pick 20. At pick 21, we have the Pelicans taking Isaiah Collier. I mean, I didn't even mention him. I didn't even realize he didn't go yet, honestly. Probably would rather the Cavs take him. Any other team I'd rather take probably the Magic, to be honest. Lakers, I'd be cool with them taking a guard. Same thing with 76ers, same thing with Miami Heat. All the way to 21. This is a perfect pick for the New Orleans Pelicans. Gets them their future point guard to sit behind CJ McCollum for maybe a year, maybe a year and a half. But other than that, it's going to be very impressive for Isaiah Collier, or not impressive. It's going to be very important for Isaiah Collier to be behind a more veteran guard because he's a raw player. He's 6'4", about 6'4". He's a big, stocky guy. If he's efficient at the next level, he can make a very big impact on whatever team he gets drafted to. At pick 22, we have the Suns taking Kyle Filipowski. Not so sure how much I love Kyle Filipowski anymore, maybe even in the first rounds. It's not just because I don't like the guy in general, uh, dirty player and whatnot, but his game's just not going to translate to the next level. Him having slow feet, his wingspan being shorter than his height, him not fully being able to stretch out to the 3-point line. Now he hit it okay at Duke, but there were still his questions. His free throw percentage not being great. There's just not a lot to love in Kyle Filipowski. And to think back, I think at one point I had him at in the lottery or even in my top 10. It's pretty crazy considering what we're seeing right now. Not sure if he's a first round pick. If anything, I think he'll go later than 22. But the Suns, I guess they need big depth. I would like to see them maybe taking Tyler Kolek. And in my next mock draft, I will 100% be trading out of this pick. At pick 23, we have the Bucks taking Khalil Ware. I'm very cool with this. Brook Lopez aging, getting a Brook Lopez light type of player. He is a lot lighter than Brook Lopez. Obviously, Khalil Ware can stretch the floor as well. Is a great shot blocker and has good touch around the rim. I'm cool with this. Maybe they're getting their Brook Lopez replacement with pick 23. At pick 24, we have Yves Missi to the Knicks. Perfect Mitchell Robinson replacement because I do believe you should move on from him this offseason. I like the big depth of Hartenstein, Missi, and Jericho Sims going into next season. It sounds very good to me. 25, we have the Knicks taking Tyler Kolek. Yeah, in that second unit, if you want Deuce McBride to be without the ball in his hands, um, maybe you go ahead and go take another guard. And Tyler Kolek, obviously a pure point guard. So a 1-2 in the second unit of Tyler Kolek and Miles McBride sounds pretty good to me. Pick 26, we have honestly, it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's crazy, but with the Knicks, I'm going to trade one of these picks most likely in my mock draft. But if they're going to keep both these picks and not pick a Tibbs type of guy, a defense first guy, like maybe a um, Bobby Clintman, maybe. He's a little bit more versatile on the end of the floor. Ryan Dunn, obviously. I'd be kind of surprised if they took a Eves Misi and Tyler Kolek, but think it's fine. It's good fits. At 26, we have the Wizards. He's going to have them taking Bobby Clintman. I like this. I think getting him into a place where he's going to get some minutes right away, not too much. I would like Bobby Clintman to be in a place where he's not going to be buried in the rotation because, some teams, especially this low in the draft, if he ends up getting picked, he'll be the 12th man in that rotation. But Wizards, most likely he'll get playing time right away, and that's why I like the fit. At pick 27, we have Baylor Shireman to the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's a guy who's definitely worked himself into the late first round conversation. 27 to the Timberwolves. Yeah, I guess they can go ahead and take some more shooting off that bench. I like Shyman a lot. Got to see a lot of him play because I'm a UConn fan and he's in the Big East, so got to see the other guys play. I definitely like the fit to the Timberwolves. Has just been a off the bench 3-point shooter, solid facilitator as well. Also, his height being 6'6" means he could have some potential on the defensive side as well, and that's going to be very important for a Timberwolves team who focuses on defense a lot. Don't mind this pick. At pick 28, we have the Nuggets taking DeRon Holmes. I think he's a guy who's definitely not solidified his name as a first round guy, but I'd be pretty surprised if he fell out of it. I think there's a lot of good fits for him in this first round. 19, I think probably 19 is the highest I'd have him. 19 to the Raptors, I think is a very good fit for him. Could also see him go 21 to the Pelicans if they decide to get their next center. if the Suns want more big depth, I would probably have him over Kyle Filipowski as a in a big board. Suns at 20 or not Suns, Bucks at 23 for sure. 26 Wizards, I'd be fine with it. Timberwolves at 27. I mean, if they want more big depth, go ahead and take it. But Nuggets at 28, I like this. I think Deron Holmes has a lot of potential on both sides of the ball. Being around what 6'9", 6'10", I think he could have some potential. I mean, if he gets the jump shot faster, I think he could have some potential off the block, possibly, or off the high post, where he's able to play more of a roaming role that we see guys like Naz Reid do in this league. I like Deron Holmes a lot. Cool to see him go in the first round. 29, we have the Jazz taking Justin Edwards. I don't think he's a first round guy. I know if you take him, you bank on his potential. But if we're doing that, I probably would even prefer guys like Pacomi Dadiet over Justin Edwards. If they want to take a wing, I mean, who else is available? Maybe even get Bronny James if you want LeBron. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can take. Don't really love Justin Edwards here at 29. Obviously, Bronny was a joke. And even Kevin McCullough, him being at 30, I think is another guy you'd be able to take at 29 for sure. But yeah, the Bucks, not the Bucks, the Celtics getting a very solid bench role player in Kevin McCullough, a wing who's able to knock down his threes, who's even at 6'6", he has a stocky build. He's able to back some smaller guards down. I think at 30 is a great fit for the Celtics, giving them more bench versatility or bench scoring that Kevin McCullough brings. Now we're going to breeze through the second round. So far, I'm cool with this mock draft. Let's breeze through the second round a little bit faster. 31, we're going to have Tyler Smith. Him out of the first round is kind of confusing to me. I'd like him in a lot of situations higher. Cam Christie at 32, another guy who I would just straight up prefer over Justin Edwards, another guy who has some good potential. 33, we have Jalen Tyson. I don't think he drops out of the first round. 34 is Ryan Dunn. We have Terrence Shannon Jr. at 35. I'm not sure if he fits into what that Spurs team's looking to do. AJ Johnson at 36. Juan Nunez, we'll see if he ends up being drafted. Bokom Dadiet, I like him at 38 to the Knicks. Nikola Jurisic, 39 is a great fit to the Grizzlies. Adem Bona, Jonathan Mogbo, who decided to stay in the draft. Ulrich Chomche, I like him at 42. Harrison Ingram at 43, maybe a little bit high. AJ Mitchell, 44. Payne Larson at 45. Jamal Shed at 46. Melvin Ajinka at 47. We have Ethan Almonte at 48. Dylan Jones at 49. Keyshawn Johnson at 50. We have 51. We have KJ Simpson. Bronny James to the Warriors at 52. See if they get LeBron with him. Jalen Bridges 53. Also Iguodala 54 to the Celtics. Ariel Hokuporti 55 to the Lakers. Isaac Jones 56 to the Nuggets. Jalen Bowes 57. And finally at pick 58, Antonio Reeves to the Mavericks. Anyone else surprised that didn't go? Honestly, I'm not sure. I like this mock draft a lot, honestly. I think this is actually one of the ESPN's better mock drafts. But yeah, Bronny James to the Warriors, sure. What was that, pick 42? No, that was pick 52, right? Yeah, Bronny James to the Warriors. Maybe they get LeBron. Overall, great mock draft from Jonathan Gavoni and Jeremy Wu, I believe that's his name. Yeah, Jonathan Gavoni and is it Jeremy Wu? Just want to make sure. Yeah, Jonathan Gavoni, Jeremy Wu, two of the best guys to do it. So it's cool to see me react to the mock draft. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel, go into the description to mention video ideas, and like the video. Put a comment too. I like it. Thanks for watching this video, and yeah, see you next time. Peace.